In this video, we are going to be going over Lesson 24, Session 3. This starts on page 481 of your math book. To start today, we will use fraction bars to show each whole number as fifths. At this point, go ahead and pause the video, and when you have your solutions, press play again and we'll go over it together. To solve this problem, I'm going to put some fraction bars up on the screen here, and each one of my fraction bars is divided into fifths already. So the first one is 3. So 3 of the fraction bars, how many fifths are there? Each one has 5, so we can count 5, 10, 15. So 3 is the same as 15 fifths. All right, the next one is 5. So how many fifths are there in 5 of them? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So there are 25 fifths. That equals 5. Okay, looking at this one, we're looking at just one of the fraction bars. So this one right here, so just one fraction bar is equal to 5 fifths. And finally, the last one is 6. So we're counting all of them. We have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So 6 equals 30 fifths. Now here's something interesting to notice. If I multiply 5 times 3, I get 15. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 1 is 5. And 5 times 6 equals 30. Okay, this is the first problem in your workbook. Please follow along as I read it to you. Alex makes 2 pounds of bread dough. He splits the dough into 1/4 pound loaves before baking them in the oven. How many loaves does he make? Pause your video and find your solution. Use whatever strategy makes sense to you, and when you have your solution, press play again and we'll work through it together. All right, let's look at this problem. We have 2 pounds of bread dough, and he splits the dough into 1/4 pound loaves before baking them. We need to find how many loaves does he make. All right, so he has 2 pounds, and he's splitting them. Splitting them is, I think, the same as saying dividing them. So he divides them into 1/4 pound loaves before baking them. How many loaves does he make? All right, so let's see. There's 1 pound, and here's 2 pounds. Okay, so this is my first pound. There's my second pound, and I'm going to split each pound into 1/4 pound sections. So each one of those will be a smaller loaf, and then each one of those will be a loaf. So it's asking how many loaves does he make. So if I count the 1/4 pound loaves that I divided these into, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I think that Alex can make 8 loaves. So let's see if by doing the math equation we get the same answer. So 2, we're going to keep. Divide, we're going to change to multiply. And 1/4, if we flip it around, it's 4/1. And 4/1 is the same as 4. So I can see that it's going to come up with the same answer. 2 times 4 equals 8 loaves. You can use a number line to help understand the problem. Draw a number line and label it to show 2 pounds of bread dough. Mark the number line to divide each whole into fourths. So here's the number line already drawn. We can see here is the first pound, and here is the second pound. And each one of those pounds is divided into fourths. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 1/4 sections. You can use what you know about equations, equivalent fractions, and common denominators to solve the problem. The equation 2 divided by 1/4 equals n models the problem with n being the number of loaves Alex makes. Write the numbers in the equation with a common denominator. 2 is the same as 8/4. 8/4 divided by 1/4 equals n. Remember, n is the number of loaves. Now you can divide 8/4 into equal groups of 1/4. So here's my 8/4. Here's an equal group. And here's an equal group. All right, we're going to make connections and explain your thinking. We're going to go through all of these problems first, and then after you have written down your solutions in your book, we're going to go through the answers so you can check your work. Number 1, in the first modelet number line, how are the 2 pounds of bread dough represented? Number 2, how are the 1/4 pound loaves represented on the number line? Number 3, how many fourths are in one whole? How many fourths are in 2 wholes? Number 4, look at the second modelet. How was the equation 2 divided by 1/4 equals n changed to an equation involving fractions with common denominators? Number 5, how many groups of 1/4 are in 8/4? What is 8/4 divided by 1/4? Explain. Number 6, how many loaves does Alex make? How are the first modelet and second modelet alike in showing how to find the solution? And number 7, what multiplication equation can you write to check your answer to 2 divided by 1/4? Explain. If you need to pause the video so you have time to work out the solutions and write your explanations, that's perfectly fine. Press play again when you're ready. I'm going to go through the solutions now. On number 1, in the first modelet, the modelet number line, how are the 2 pounds of bread dough represented? The 2 pounds of dough are the numbered points 1 and 2. Number 2, how are the 1/4 pound loaves represented on the number line? Each whole pound is divided into fourths using tick marks. Number 3, how many fourths are in one whole? There are 4 fourths in one whole. And how many fourths are in 2 wholes? There are 8 fourths in 2 wholes. Number 4, look at the second modelet. How was the equation 2 divided by 1/4 equals n changed to an equation involving fractions with common denominators? The number 2 was changed to a fraction in fourths, so it has the same denominator as 1/4. 2 is equal to 8/4. Number 5, how many groups of 1/4 are in 8/4? What is 8/4 divided by 1/4? Explain. There are 8 1/4 in 8/4. 8/4 divided by 1/4 equals 8 because 8 times 1/4 equals 8/4. Number 6, how many loaves does Alex make? How are the first modelet and second modelet alike in showing how to find the solution? Alex makes 8 loaves. The first modelet shows 8 1/4 tick marks in 2 numbers on the number line. The second modelet shows 8 1/4 that are in 8/4 using an equation 2 is equal to 8/4. Number 7. What multiplication equation can you write to check your answer to 2 divided by 1/4? Explain. We can write 8 times 1/4 equals 8/4, or 2, because it uses the equation in an inverse operation. Number 8, at the bottom of page 483. Reflect. Look back at your try it, strategies by classmates or family members or siblings, and the model-its. Which models or strategies do you like best for dividing a whole number by a unit fraction? Explain. Some of the strategies that we've used are drawing a model or a diagram. We've also used a number line. We have an equation that we can use where we keep the first number, change division to multiplication, and flip the second number upside down. And we've also looked at a strategy where we find common denominators. All right, let's look at number 9. Apply your thinking to a new problem. Stacy has 4 sheets of paper to make cards. Each card requires 1/2 sheet of paper. How many cards can Stacy make? Draw a model and write a division equation to represent and solve the problem. Pause the video, find your solution, and then press play. Let's look at what we have here. 4 sheets of paper, and each card requires 1/2 sheet of paper. We need to find how many cards can Stacy make. It's asking us to do 2 different things. The first is to draw a model, and the second is to write a division equation. So let's start by drawing our model. She has 4 sheets of paper, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 sheets of paper, and we're going to divide each sheet into 1/2. All right, how many cards can Stacy make? 2, 4, 6, 8. My model is telling me that she can make 8 cards. All right, we drew a model. Now let's write a division equation. She has 4 sheets of paper, and each card requires 1/2 sheet, so we are going to be dividing by 1/2. So if we keep the 4, we change division to multiplication, and if we flip 1/2, we get 2. 2 over 1 is equal to 2. And so 4 times 2 equals 8. I got the same answer. She can make 8 cards. Number 10, look at problem 9 above. Which multiplication expressions can be used to represent the situation or check the division equation? So 8 times 2 is 16. Our problem had nothing to do with 16, so we know that one doesn't work. 4 times 1/2. So if we have 4 over 1 times 1/2, that is equal to 4/2. Which is the same as 2. Well, there weren't 2 sheets of paper. That one doesn't really work. Let's look at C. 16 times 1/2. Well, there's our 16 again. There was no 16 in the problem, so we know that that one doesn't work either. 8 times 1/2. So 8 over 1 times 1/2. 8, 2, which is equal to 4. Now that one makes sense because there were 4 pieces of paper, and the 4 divided by 1/2 equals 8 if we look at that backwards, or the inverse. So I'm going to bubble in D. All right, 4 times 2. That's exactly what we did when we did our equation before and we got 8. And our answer did turn out to be 8. So we'll bubble in that one as well. Number 11. Dylan makes 3 submarine sandwiches. He cuts each sandwich into 6 to share. He stacks all the sandwich pieces on a plate. How many sandwich pieces does Dylan stack on the plate? Show your work. All right, you know the drill. Pause, solve, then press play. Okay, circling important information. He has 3 sub-sandwiches. He cuts each sandwich into 6ths to share. He stacks all the sandwich pieces on a plate. Oh, that's not important information. How many sandwich pieces does Dylan stack on the plate? In other words, how many sandwich pieces does he have? Okay, so he has 3 sub-sandwiches. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. He cuts them each into 6ths. How many sandwich pieces does Dylan stack on the plate? So if we know that each of these are 6, and there's 3 of them, I can already tell you that 6 times 3 equals 18. So let's check with our equation. There's 3 sandwiches divided into 6ths, which is going to be, that's weird, 3 times, if I flip that around, 6, and we're going to get the same thing, 18 pieces. Okay, your assignment today is pages 485 and 486 in your workbooks. Remember, it is due Friday the 3rd by 5 p.m. You can take a picture of it and either email it to my email address or you can upload it onto Google Classroom. Have fun!